Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jarek Brain Show. My name is Jarek, and we're coming to you live from hot as hell, Texas, in Houston, Texas. We have an amazing guest on the show today. We have Easy from Hyperkongz. Easy, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on here and talk to you a little bit.
Me too. It was so uh, crazy when I first got introduced with you guys at Hyperkongz. The community is nuts, and it took me weeks to actually get a whitelist spot, but I was able to actually get some Hyperkongz. So I'm super excited that you're on the show today. And kind of Easy. I kind of want to talk to you about how did you get to your start in Web3? What led you here to Hyperkongz?
Yeah, I think it was a journey for sure. I think it started originally, obviously, like getting into crypto itself, right? Maybe I think it was about 4.5 years ago. That's when I kind of really started to get into crypto. I think it was something that like always interests me because like in general, like I'm the type of person that just kind of wants to have my like it's kind of like my hand in everything. I kind of want to know a little piece about anything that's going on, and just if I can expand and if I can learn, then I'm gonna try and do that. So I got into crypto originally, right? And then I was in a couple different chats and groups and on social media, just kind of looking at the best way to invest and the best way to to kind of succeed and do things like that, right? And then I think when it was around 2020 is when I kind of started to hear about NFTs, right? I heard NFTs, but I didn't really know what it was. So this time I was living out in Las Vegas, and they started doing like some crypto meetups, and so I started to go to a few of those, and they were pretty small, like because they were like crypto and NFT related. So like there wasn't that much interest in it. So like you would go, and there was maybe like 40 people in there, 50 people in there, and it was just kind of like a laid back like meetup. People would meet up and just talk about like kind of what they were doing, what they knew how to do, what they wanted to learn how to do, just things like that. So I started going to a couple of those and kind of just networking, right? So you kind of just met people and were introduced to new people that they kind of shared similar experiences and thought process. Um, and then yeah, so like I just started doing my own research and getting more into the NFT scene, and then like as an investor, right? And so I kind of just started looking at different projects, how they worked, what utility they were bringing, per se, I guess in that time, and then just yeah, being an investor, right? It was kind of like the first part of it, and just kind of doing that for months on end, and it was kind of crazy in that time. I think if anyone was kind of investing in that time, because it was like 0 to 100, right? Like you could invest $200, and then the next 2 days you could make over $1,000, or you could just lose all your money. So it was just kind of like finding the perfect balance and just kind of learning about like the whole process, right, and different projects, and what makes some projects successful, and what kind of deters other projects from kind of breaking onto the scene. So just uh, as an investor. And then when I was going to those meetups is actually when I met Mr. Mint that time. And I started going to those meetups like periodically. I think they would have them like once a month or something like that. And then we kind of just always kept in contact. We kind of just kept talking, and we kind of shared experiences, and kind of just our mindset. I think we kind of just aligned on a lot of different things. Um, and we kind of just I guess we just kind of hit it off, and we were just kind of like saw the potential and what it was and kind of what we wanted to do. So since then, I guess it kind of just began into trying to build and trying to build. And I think that process was really important, just because, like I said, being an investor first and kind of seeing like how all these projects went about it, and like I said, at that point it was really the wild wild west. Like there's so many different types of projects coming in, doing different things and doing different marketing strategies, or doing different kind of artistic visuals. So it was honestly a really fun time to be a part of, and I think it led to a lot of growth and experience, and just learning through all that. It's yeah, but I mean, for the most part, that's kind of what led me here. I think in that process, it was just kind of learning the ins and outs of how everything worked, and then just kind of like, okay, well, if I think that was just always our mindset, right? It's like if these people can do it, like I think we have those kind of goals and aspirations. Like I think we could achieve the same thing someday, right? It takes a lot of trial and error at the end of the day, but that was kind of where our mindset was, and we kind of just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until, you know, ending up over here and kind of seeing what Polygon has to offer. And I think it kind of just was kind of like the best of both worlds, right? We wanted to build, and I think this ecosystem lends itself to being a good foundational piece to keep building on. So I think that was really our it kind of married what we wanted to do, and I think it's been really positive so far. So I think I'm glad we made the right decision, really, ultimately.
Yeah, and you speak of that, right? Because you started out on ETH, and then you came over here to Polygon. Like, how has Polygon like treated you guys so far?
It's been good, man. I think it's the community aspect is a lot more like tight knit, right? I think everyone kind of knows everyone. Everyone can hop on a space together, right? Like you can see a space that pops up, and it's like three of the top five projects are like talking on the space. I think it's, like I said, it's a lot more communal than like an ETH. As a sense, it's like very difficult to see that. Like you don't really just pop up in the ETH space and there's like, oh, it's Doodles and it's Azuki is talking, like it's not really a thing, right? So I think now it's really important because you build that base with the community and the people. I think if like everyone can align and kind of be on the same page, I think it lends really well. And I think obviously like with the benefits of Polygon itself being like a low transactional fee ecosystem with the same kind of benefits, being on that EVM is it just lends itself to being a really a really good place to continue to build. And I think there's a lot of good things coming this way. Obviously right now it's a little difficult with the market sentiment, but as things align and things keep moving forward, I think there's a lot of potential to grow. So I think Polygon so far it's been really good. I think you can't complain too much. I think there's always going to be FUD. There's always going to be naysayers and things of that nature. But I think at this point, if you've been in the Web3 space long enough, that's going to come with the territory. So you just have to be ready for it. And just can't really pay too much attention to it. Can't let it deter it from what for what you're doing. I think if you know what you're here to do and you know what your goals are, it's just kind of like, okay, like I hear it, I see it, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna make a difference in what I'm going to achieve. So you just kind of keep moving forward. But overall, I think Polygon's been great, and I think the communities is really good, and it's lively, and I think people are supporting, and I think more people are going to be coming on this chain, and I think that's what we want to achieve. We want more people on here, and these projects are doing. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and we're here for it.
No, I totally agree. And your community was was crazy and passionate, and yeah, like I said, that Discord was, and I think we had to put like I believe you guys had to put like a timer thing on there to slow it down, because it was just comments after comment after comment after comment. Yeah, it was hard to get a word in there though. But I do want to say though, so with the whole Hyperkongz, can you explain kind of like the lore, like like what exactly is the story of Hyperkongz?
Yeah, so Hyperkongz are, in a sense, they are extraterrestrial beings, right? It's kind of like a marrying of kind of self betterment in a way. That's what I position it in terms of the lore and what it's supposed to be, right? So like it's these extraterrestrial beings that come from a different planet, right? And they come over and they notice that Earth is kind of on a downpour, right? That Earth is not the same, civilization that it used to be. We're in dire need of help. This is down in the future, right? So they sense that there's issues, and so they come down and kind of hopes of making Earth back to what it used to be, right? A healthy civilization with thriving ecosystems, right? So they come down to help, and I think when they do come to help, they have a little malfunction and they crash land into the jungle, right? So once they hit into the jungle, they see an animal that really catches their attention, right? Which is kind of like the marrying of the two, the physical and the mental aspect, right? So they, which is like the gorilla in a sense, it's this super physical, super imposing being, super strong and ready to fight for what they want to do. But they also notice that it has like the mental capability, right? They're cognitive. They know, they're it's a strong minded animal. So they kind of see that essence, and they decide to kind of transform and better themselves, and kind of assimilate and transform and into something better than themselves, right? Taking the physical tools and marrying them with super strong mental capabilities, right? So that they already possessed. So they kind of marry that together and kind of become a better version of themselves, right? So that's kind of like in essence what I wanted to convey with that story is like, we're a constant betterment and improvement of our own selves, so that's kind of what I wanted to marry with the lore, and kind of create that kind of reference within our own selves, which is, that's the goal of Hyperkongz in itself, is, constantly improving and constantly getting better, and, pairing that with that kind of lore, and I did it because, in a sense, I always really like kind of like that sci-fi extraterrestrial, marriage, and pairing it with like an actual theme and an actual like, something that people can kind of like realign with and follow. I think was really important. So yeah, that's technically what they are, right? They come from somewhere else. They want to take over a civilization. They want to make it better. They want to improve. So they in turn improve themselves into these beings that they are now. And from there on out, they try to take over.
Well, no, that's amazing though. But you speak of Kongs, right? And of course, there's a lot of ape projects and Kong projects and everything like that. And were you at all like kind of worried when you selected a Kong that maybe it would kind of like not do as well? It obviously did really well though. But at any point in time, were you a little worried about that?
No, I mean, I think it crossed my mind in terms of like ape, right? Because it's in the ape kind of category and family. Um, but no, it wasn't really a worry of mine, just because I felt like aesthetically, and then kind of like thematically, it would be very different to anything really like ape oriented in the scene, and especially like on Polygon, right? I think like there are like successful ape projects, right? But I think if you compare them, like, comparatively speaking, right? Aesthetically, it's very different. And then I think either like, again, like with the lore and kind of like our whole theme in general, it was going to be a different feel and different just vibe as well. So no, it wasn't really a worry of mine. I do think there, like you said, yeah, there's a project everywhere, right? Not, I mean, in Polygon and on all blockchains,
Mm.
it's littered with a project, right? But I think it was kind of like, kind of the what I wanted to do is just pay homage to what I know and what I like fell into, right? And I think in that time, like when I speak about like coming up on ETH and everything, it was like there was a project everywhere. But I think at that point, like there was unique ape projects, but a lot of them were like the same, like in a sense, right? So I kind of wanted to take that and put my spin on it and bring it to Polygon and do like a new ape project, like I said, kind of like a self improvement, betterment, and kind of just make it a staple and make it unique, and take an ape and what people really, I guess, can say like is been done before, but kind of do it in a way that hasn't really been done. So I think that was kind of like my kind of thought process behind it, and try to do it as exciting as possible, for the community.
Yeah, no, it was great, and the one-on-one art is like really really amazing too as well. I think I tried getting me a couple. I really wanted that Sentinel one, but was unable to get my hands on it though. But the artist who did the one-on-one, was it just one person or was it multiple people?
So we have I believe 10 one-on-ones that were made by the artist that made the whole collection. And then we added I believe it's 7 101s that were actually made by community members.
Ooh.
So I think you can kind of sense out which ones are the 10, right? The 10, it's kind of, I guess, like the similar style of the artist that created the whole collection, right? So 10 of them were made by him that were amazing, and then like you said, we threw, I think it was 7 in there from the community. So there was community members that were like looking to get whitelists that were just in the Discord. I think that if you were in the Discord at the time, the fan art was insane, and there was like new submissions like daily, right? Of people just kind of making their own twists and on art on Hyperkongz, and it was just kind of like, how can we make something cool for the community? Because I think it's something that you don't really see in terms of like just community members having their own pieces inserted into collections. So we kind of picked like I guess the ones that really that we really liked, and we threw them in the collection, from these community members and supporters and people. I mean, that really spent a lot of time making these 101s, because I mean, I know doing like intricate art like that, it's not something you do in like an hour or something. So people really spent time doing this. So we picked out the ones that we liked and we threw them in the collection. And then something it is for those 101s on the initial sale, for the community members that we inserted in there, we gave them the whole the whole money that was spent on it. So like if their 101 was sold initially for 1,500 Matic, then we sent them directly the 1,500 Matic for their 101. So we've actually, I believe all of them have sold already. So we've sent. I don't know exactly how much in Matic to the original community members, but yeah, we sent them all individually their Matic for their pieces, and I think it was something really cool to see, because I mean, it's something definitely that doesn't happen a lot. And we made those posts about it, and you could kind of like you can see some of the threads in there and just how excited they were, because it's like these are a lot of these people are, like you said, they're grinding for whitelist spots, they're grinding to even have a chance to mint like one NFT, right? So like sending someone 1,600 Matic, that makes a big difference in a lot of these people's lives. So I think it was something really, really cool to do and kind of like support the community, right? Like these people are taking time to do some really cool pieces, and just kind of paying them back that way. I think it was really cool, and like if we could do that again for another piece, and that would be great. But I think that was something really unique that we did, and I'm glad we did it, because yeah, I think it brought new like artists into the ecosystem. Cause I think like now for Manifest is like helping them, and kind of like they're really doing like some new pieces for Manifest. So like in that little, just doing that, like now they have a start on a new start on kind of like their art journey. And if we can assist in that, then I think that's great.
No, yeah, totally, and it's great that you rewarded the artists like that, and some of these people that's life changing money for them. Some of people are from other countries, and that's just speaks volume of the Hyperkongz and you, and that's you didn't have to do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was really exciting to see, and kind of like being in the threads with them, kind of like reaching out to them, be like, hey, like your 101 just sold for 1,800 Matic, and just kind of like, oh my god, like I think like one of the guys actually, he's doing, I believe he's doing like the art rework for one of the projects already. One of the guys that was rewarded, and he made one of the 101s for us. But he had made the whole 101 like on his phone, just on his phone, like using his thumb. Like he made the whole 101, and then like with the money that we sent him for his 101 that sold, he bought an iPad, and now he's like can make art on his iPad, and you know what I mean. So it's like it was just really cool. He sent me like a picture of it and everything, and it was just like any way that we can help out and just kind of like do something positive in people's lives. I think all the better, right? I think it helps us and it helps them, and it's, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? And in terms of building community, like I think that's how you do it, and kind of rewarding people that deserve to be rewarded.
No, that's amazing. I mean, I saw that and I was like, man, yeah, I couldn't believe he did it on his phone. Like that was like
Yeah.
insane to me. But I also want to ask you too. I keep seeing in your roadmap this assimilation event. Is there anything you can give us on that?
Yeah, so what I can say is this simulation event is kind of like a new evolution of the Kong, right? So in a sense, every Kong holder will get an airdrop, right? So every Kong holder gets an airdrop, but in that airdrop, in the future, um, it will become this new mutated evolved Kong, right? But it's not just it's not the regular, like, I guess if you could say, like BAYC to MAYC like type of mutation. Like
Hmm.
in terms of these new Kongs, they're, like I said, evolved in a sense. So like it's not the same, like, I guess, structure like of the old Kong, right? So these new Kongs evolved in terms of them getting better and them diversifying their skill set, right? At the end of the day, right, these Kongs are trying to take over, and improve the civilization, right? So in order to do that, you have to diversify, right? You can't, every Kong can't be the same if they're going to take over and kind of something that's never been done before, right? So they diversify their skill set and kind of evolve in a way so these two different types of Kongs can kind of do that and kind of take over the space in the ecosystem, right? So they evolve once again and make minor changes and make little differences in their appearance and their skill sets and things of that nature to kind of make them, so they have no faults, I guess, in their game, right? So they're, if what one Kong doesn't have, the other type of Kong can kind of make up for that, right? So that's kind of what the assimilation event is like, with that 101 airdrop, every Kong holder can experience, a new type of Kong, coming to them in the future. So it's kind of a little bit about the assimilation event, right? So now that we have Hyper, which is what, since we've been staking now, that's what that Hyper is going to unlock, right? There's going to be that airdrop will be say certain vials, and you'll need Hyper to unlock these vials, and then turn them into the mutated evolved Kongs, later down the line, which is something we're working on very hard to get that done.
Have you teased any artwork of the what they're going to look like yet?
I did actually recently. It was this week. It wasn't a full tease, so it wasn't like a. It was just kind of like half, like just kind of like the facial structure. But it's not like in full color or anything. But I did tease a little bit of what they would look like. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna be showing the vials soon. There's gonna be three tiers in vials. So there's gonna be from the lowest to the highest in rarity vial, and so like people will be able to see those, and those will be airdropped to people randomly, so that it's someone can get like a very like the higher tier, higher mutation vial, or so that's why it's kind of we saying like if someone has 10 Kongs, maybe they get two rare vials, one
Mhm.
regular vial. Yeah, it's good. So we kind of wanted to make it gamified and make it exciting for people, having something to look forward to, and do it that way. And then as time progresses, I'll be showing more and more sneak peeks of like the different kind of mutations and the different kind of Kongs. But I did tease one. Um, Not fully, but yeah, the more and more will be shown here in the future very soon.
Oh yeah, we'll go to your Twitter and check it out, and we'll have that all pinned down at the bottom. But also, too, can you explain the Genesis Kongs?
Yeah, so the Genesis Kongs, right now they earn you more hyper per day. So about 1,000. So we have a 3,333 collection. 1,000 of them earn four times the amount of hyper than say the base regular Kong. So right now, a base regular Kong is making three hyper per day. So the Genesis are making 12 hyper per day, and so that's going to be important in terms of course, the mutation in the future, right? So like if you have more hyper accumulated, the faster and the quicker you'll be able to unlock your future airdrop. And then in terms of as as well as we opened a kind of like a raffle marketplace where you can use your hyper and different and earn different NFTs, different prizes, different whitelists, things of that nature. And it works the same way, right? Like, so if you're making more hyper per day, that gives you more of a chance to use that hyper and say there's a whitelist you really want or an NFT you really want, kind of use that for that. And regenerates every day, right? So if you're making 24 hyper off two Genesis Kongs, then you can kind of split that up into different ways, and keep making more hyper for your mutations, and if you want to use it for the marketplace, then you can use it for the marketplace as well.
No, yeah, that's like Staking is live, guys. By the way, Staking is live. So Staking has been out for quite a while, and I just was seeing like the Genesis Kongs. Like they were like I actually have a couple too, so I can't wait for that. But this DAP you kind of mentioned in your roadmap, I know you can't put all your cards on the table, but can you kind of tell me a little bit about that or what that's going to kind of be?
Yeah, so in a way, it's going to be just kind of like a hub for everything Kongs. It's going to be like a smooth uh, app where you can kind of find everything that you need it in kind of one spot and kind of make it seamless and kind of make it exciting for all the Kongs, where you can just kind of go to one spot and it can kind of take you to all these different avenues that we're doing. So whether if it's like socially, whether if it's staking wise, whether it's for any upcoming game or anything, kind of all be displayed and found in like a seamless application, and we can do some really cool things with that app. I think something that I mentioned earlier before is kind of like integrating it in a way as well, like that we had wanted to do kind of like a raid to earn, or like a raid to earn kind of system, right? So where you can kind of on the app or that app, where you can kind of like go in there and say anytime that you post about Kongs, or anytime that you're showing support and you're retweeting things of that nature, that you can actually earn more hyper token, right? So it kind of like is the best of both worlds, right? You kind of pushing the project forward and showing your support and love for it, and then you're also at the same token, earning a little bit of hyper as well, in terms of like not just making it only like staking wise, there's other ways to kind of like do that and implement that. So that's kind of like something that we're interested in doing with the DAP as well as it just being an overall like hub and kind of like a way, kind of like the center of Kongs, where anything that you kind of need, that you can kind of get it seamlessly on there, and it's something that you would, if you're in the community, that you would probably be using like, very, very regularly. So something that is exciting, and I think something that we wanted to do and that we will do later down the line. But yeah, just kind of making it easily accessible for everyone, and just kind of keeping it fun and doing different things that the community can benefit from.
No, that's great. Yeah, I know you can't put all your cards on the table, so I know that's going to be kind of for down the line. But um, I do want to ask you this. You mentioned Mr.Mint, right? And you guys had met each other and everything like that. Like, what's it like working with Mr.Mint and actually the whole Manifest Labs team?
Yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, like I said, I've known him for years now, right? So it's like it's been a journey. I think it's overall, I mean, it's brought a lot of positivity, to me, because I think that's what life's about, right? You meet people, and like there's certain people that you want to keep, in your life, and that what you want to be friends with, and that you want to continue to be surrounded by, because they push you, you push them, and you kind of just make each other better. And I think that's kind of like what it's been like since I met him. I think I think we're different people, but in terms of like overall, like what we want to achieve, it's kind of the same thing, right? I think that's why I got to be in this position, is because we kind of think the same way, and that is like we're not really gonna, I guess, take no for an answer. We're not gonna stop doing what we're doing. We're just gonna keep going forward. And it's like, I think we saw that in the past, right? It's like we wanted it so bad. We wanted it so bad to, and it's finally, I guess it's here, in terms of like, there's still a lot to get better, but like it's kind of just that mindset. Like I said, I think that's really what kind of like is the basis of it all. We're just kind of on the same wavelength of like him doing different things, right? Like I would do different things, he would do different things, but in a sense, like it all worked just because we had the same goal in mind and we kind of just kept pushing daily for it. And I think that's what it's been. So, like I said, it's been great, and it's been a great experience being part of Manifest and working with him, because I think we're just constantly improving, and I think we're just looking at ways to get better, right? So like in a sense, like tying it, like even what I said with the lore, like that's what it's all about. Like at the end of the day, is like what it is not what it's going to be 5 months from now, because we're always looking to improve, and that's just something that's not going to change, right? So um, it's been a good experience, and I think I'm excited for anything Manifest. I'm excited for anything Kongz, because I know the driving force behind it. I know the team behind it. I think now we're in a really good spot, because and I think we're always kind of just challenging ourselves to do better, and like okay, thinking of different ways to engage the community more, to make things more exciting, to just looking at different avenues that you can improve on. And I think that's the goal, right? I think you can't be satisfied with just where you're at. You have to keep moving forward, because time doesn't stop, and if you stop, things are going to catch up with you. So you just got to keep going, and being a step ahead. And I think that's what I've learned, and that's the mindset that we carry on. So it's been great, and I think the work has been, I'm not gonna say easy, but it's been like easy to navigate, just because we're kind of like on that same path, and I think it's only moving. I'm excited for the future. I don't know the future, but I know where it's going to lead to, right? So I think it's just exciting times, from here on out.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I got to ask you this. This is kind of more of a personal question for me. I kind of gonna like ask you: Is that has he always been that motivational, Mr. Mint?
Yeah, I think like maybe like in person is different, right? Because it's not like
Hmm.
he's like necessarily giving you like a motivational speech every day, right?
Hmm.
But in terms of, yeah, like I said, he always wants more, right? He always wants to do better. He always wants to improve. So like in terms of like if you're in person and you're with him, you feed off that, right? So like that's what it's all about. Like I said, in terms of making you better. Like if you're surrounded by him, like it's gonna make you better, because you're gonna align with the views. You're gonna want more. You're gonna see. You're gonna want to work harder. You're gonna want to do better. So in terms of like that, yeah, I think it is motivational, because I think you like a lot of people like heard kind of like a story as well, like going through different things and kind of managing off and handling it. So it is motivational, because you see like what someone's gone through, and you kind of see their mindset, right? Like, oh well, if someone's gone through these things and experienced this, and they shouldn't believe in this so hard, or they shouldn't, but I think it's the opposite, right? Like, and he keeps pushing forward, and he keeps wanting to be better, and I think for me that's what's motivational, right? It's not necessarily like he's giving you a motivational speech every day, but like it's kind of like you see what he's doing, and it's like you either on the same wavelength and you keep going upwards, or yeah, I guess you're not really going to be on the team, right? If you're not doing
Hmm.
that. So um yeah, I think it's just like making everyone better, right? It's just kind of feeding off each other's energy. I think that's what you do as a person, right? You surround yourself with friends or whoever that you know or at least that you would think it's going to make you better in your own personal life, right? So that's what I've tried to do personally for myself in my journey, right? Because like I said, uh, I'm not the finished product either, right? Like I kind of want to keep improving and doing things differently, and kind of finding my way. And like again, this is kind of just a start, right? Like in terms of like if we're speaking about Hyperkongz, right? I mean, we've been out for like a little bit over a month, right? So I mean, it's like
Hmm.
it's crazy, right? Like there's just so much to do still, and so much to be impacted. And I think each day just kind of improving upon that is going to get you there. So that's why, like, even with like the market and everything that it's been, like, I'm not worried about it, because I know where this is going to be in the future, right? 10 months from now, or whatever the game is, a year, 2 years from now, right? um so right now, like, in reality, the way you look at it in Polygon, like it is tough. Like, it's not an easy like market to, I guess, to kind of navigate through because, everyone knows liquidity is low. Everyone knows that, the interest, even though we're having, some good projects come on the scene, it's and overall in terms of like numbers wise, it's very, very low, right? But I think this is the time to keep building, right? Because if you wait to build until the bear market hits, you're already behind. So if you're building now and kind of positioning yourself for when the time does hit where more users are onboarded and kind of prices are pumping and everyone's excited and you already have those things in place, and I think that's kind of where you kind of see the takeoff. So that's what we're preparing for right now.
Oh no, that's great. And I totally agree with you on building through this bear market, 100%. But I will ask you this though, kind of being in the Manifest Labs kind of ecosystem, right? Kind of right. I mean, you're kind of your own separate entity. Is it like kind of like added pressure trying to like kind of be on that same level? Like, because they cast a pretty big shadow. Like, do you like feel like there's like a lot of pressure in trying to like perform as them, or you're kind of just like kind of off doing your own thing?
Yeah, I think it's like a mix. I mean, honestly, because it's pressure, but it's the pressure that I place on myself. Really, like at the end of the day, like it's not like really in terms of like I feel like the pressure from Mr.Mint or like from Manifest or anything like that. Like at the end of the day, like any pressure that I feel is just pressure I place on myself because like I said, like if there's metrics I want to hit, there's a certain position I want my community to be in. It's the pressure that I'm placing on myself. Like, if I'm not satisfied with something, then that comes from me. It's not really, from Manifest. So like there's pressure but like I gotta put pressure on myself, to do that and to kind of keep improving. It's not really directly from them, but I think it's a good way to look at it in terms of like seeing the success that Manifest has had and like say like the numbers or the community that they have, and applying that pressure on yourself, like in my case, right, and applying that pressure on me because that's what's going to make me better, right? If I compare myself, right, to quote unquote like the best in Polygon, and if I compare myself to those people, then that's what I'm going to strive to be, right? So like it's important to kind of look at it that way and just kind of and but at the end of the day, like it has to be positive, right? Like so you kind of have to know where you're at and then kind of build from there, right? If you're putting this pressure on yourself but it's like hindering you, and then obviously that's negative, right? But you kind of just have to have that the long-term vision and goal and know that what the steps that you're taking and where it's going to lead you, right? So of course there is pressure, but it's not something that I'm not going to manage or anything because it's the only person that can put pressure on me is really myself, right? Because that's it's from the things that I want to achieve with the community. So of course there's pressure, but it's you got to keep pushing forward. You got to keep going. So that's the only way to kind of I guess alleviate that in a way. But no, it's exciting, and I'm glad to be part of Manifest. Or obviously, it's like I said, it's a different entity, but I'm glad that I was able to be part of that and kind of just have that support system because having Mr.Mint in your corner and these people in your corner, I mean that makes a world of difference when you are building. So it's nothing but positive really going forward.
That's great. And Hyperkongz have come to play, right? We got something going on here too. But I do want to ask you this though, right? So you mentioned the Manifest Labs ecosystem, right? And you guys are your own separate thing. But I gotta ask, right? Because there is a lot of Manifest has a lot of comics and everything like that, and animation and all those things. Is there a possibility we will see Hyperkongz somewhere in that lore or like kind of like a crossover event, possibly?
You know what? I think I mean I can't say for sure yes or no, but it's something that's definitely on the table, right? I think if you kind of marry it and you kind of look at, I guess, thematically how like some of the things play out, it's something that could definitely work out and play into both of our favors. So, I'm not going to give a definitive answer, but I think it's something that we could see in the future. In a certain event or in a certain kind of lore that intertangles, something or in a certain game. I'm not going to say something for sure, but I think there's definitely ways that you can marry, some of the kind of ideas and then kind of make it work for both ecosystems. But like I said, I think for me, I always kind of love that extraterrestrial vibe and
Mhm.
things of that nature. So like that was just kind of like my inspiration, and like me personally, like I was even a part of um like you said, I started in ETH, and then like we started building at that point. So I was a big part of like that Galactic Eagle. Like obviously that was like the first project that Manifest, or in that time was Genesis Labs, that we tried to like do something with, and that was a big part of that. And like Galactic Eagle was like my thing. Like I really like spent a lot of time like kind of like creating traits and lore, and part of like what Galactic Eagle was. So like I said, ever since I've just always really liked that kind of like that vibe and that kind of the outer space lore and things of that nature. So it was just something that I wanted to carry on when I started my own project, and that's what it came out to be in Hyperkongz. So for sure, I think down the line, I'm not going to say no. There's definitely a possibility that some things can kind of align themselves and make it work for the both of us.
Oh no, that's great! And shout out to the Galactic Eagles. That's actually my favorite IP in the Manifest Labs ecosystem. I actually own quite a bit of Galactic Eagles, but kind of the kind of process that you kind of gone through with the Manifest Labs, because you were in an incubation project and everything
Mhm.
like that. And there's other projects that watch this show. And what is the actual process of actually coming to Manifest Labs? What should they expect? Like, what should they have, like, kind of in a row, or like, it's going to be like a huge interview process? Can you kind of like elaborate on that whole thing?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say it's not gonna be it's gonna be a little different. I said in the sense that I can say that I've known Mr. Mint for whatever 4 years or something like that. So we've built so much continuity with each other that I guess if I'm gonna say it's gonna be exactly the same, it might not be exactly the same, just because like I said, I've built 4 years of trust and whatnot, and he knows my work ethic, and he knows what I've provided. So it's going to be a little bit different in that sense, right? Because they have to kind of start from zero in a sense, right? Because if you're just meeting or being acquainted, then you kind of have to go through maybe a different process in that sense. But what I would say is that you definitely have to have your things aligned in terms of like having what your project is going to represent and how you kind of want it to play out. Definitely organize in a sense of what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it, right? Like come to like if you're going to reach out to Mr. Mint, it has to be something that he can gravitate towards and that he feels is going to be successful, right? So what it means, it has to create some kind of buzz within the community, right? And that can be done in various different ways, right? Artwork obviously is an important factor in terms of what's going to play out, and then in terms of like what you want to build and kind of want to achieve. I think at the end of the day, like I said, I've built, so say, this trust with them. I think for new projects, it's like you kind of have to show, I guess, in a sense, what you're made of, right? Like you have to show, like, okay, this is what we've done. This is how we've been building, and like, I think you guys would be the perfect fit for us, and kind of show and amplify, I guess, what we've been doing already. But I think it's mainly that, right? Just kind of having your whole plan of attack for the project, and having it resonate with Manifest Labs, and it be something that they can really push. Because I think if we get down to it, I think not every art style is gonna work, maybe, or not every kind of like lore is gonna be super enticing, right? So I think it kind of has to have that kind of like, I don't know how to put it, but in a sense, it has to be something that I guess the mass public can gravitate towards. And I think you kind of seen that. I guess they announced the second incubation, which is Techio, and then you can kind of see that marriage, right, in terms of like in Polygon, there's really not that many anime projects, right? So that's something they can push and something they can kind of get their hands on and kind of make it, a staple, right? So it just kind of it's kind of that, right? It's like what is there lacking in the space in the community, and what could be amplified through Manifest, and you kind of improved upon. So it just, if you have like a really good idea, and you kind of know the process of how you're going to build it and the things you kind of want to deliver, that's kind of attainable. um I think that's something that can work. But yeah, in a sense, I think it's just like, man, he's gonna talk to you. He's gonna ask you these questions. He's gonna ask you, and I think he's a very good judge of character, right? So he's gonna know, from the get go, is like, is this person really up to the task, and kind of running the ship? Because at the end of the day, right, like, it's like, it's these projects really have to do well, because it's like, they're in a sense, they're repping Manifest and what it is, right? So it's like, you have to be confident that they're going to keep pushing and kind of being there every single day, and with their goals aligned in kind of the same manner, right? So I think that's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's almost the most important thing. Like, if he knows that you have a solid kind of idea that can be pushed and amplified, and then he knows that you're going to be there to provide what the community needs on a daily basis, and I think it can be aligned, in a good way. So I think there's definitely different ways to go about it, but I think overall it's kind of like what you have to provide and what you kind of have to show, because it's definitely, like I said, there's definitely pressure, so you just have to be willing to kind of to go for it, and just kind of keep pushing.
No, yeah, yeah, 100%. And like, thank you for like giving the other projects, that kind of, alpha on that. Now, I will ask you this. This is kind of like, my kind of my thing of the show is that, for the rest of the year, like, what do you hope to accomplish? And do you have any like alpha you want to kind of like, do you have coming up, or, anything like that? But what do you hope to accomplish at the end of this year?
Yeah, so I think it's just the mainly where I want to be is like, I want Hyperkongz to just be recognized at the forefront of like the Polygon community, right? So I think it's like I've said, I think um, when people come over to Polygon and like they get a short list of projects, like they get five projects, say they get five projects listed to them, is like, I definitely want Hyperkongz to be there. I want Hyperkongz to be, it talked about with all the great projects in Polygon, and like, maybe, people talk about us now, but like I said, I just want to keep growing and amplifying that sentiment, and that status, right? In terms of like, doing what we do for the community, and just kind of amplifying it and keep increasing our reach and our bandwidth, and just kind of doing things better than we're doing them now. So just that's kind of like where I want to be, is just having that super strong community that rides behind you, and it kind of makes you solidified. Like I said, I think we're still obviously very young into the process, but like as time passes, um, I think you really find that super diehard core community, and that's what we have to keep cultivating. We have to keep building, and I think with that, paired with like the things that we plan to do, I think is going to be really special. So it's just, we kind of have to keep uh, diving into the community, and just making it stronger and stronger, because at the end of the day, like what we said, like, you know again, even the reason why Manifest is so successful, have this crazy community behind it that's going to follow whenever, wherever, and they're going to show up, and they're going to show support, and that's the same thing. So you just have to keep building that, and fostering that within your community, and that's going to lend you to keep kind of growing, and kind of keep doing better, and going into that positive motion. So that's all we're focused on in terms of doing that, and then as well as obviously delivering, and doing the things that we want to do, and just kind of keeping it excited for the community. And I think paired with that is you have a good recipe in terms of bringing ultimate to success to your community. In terms of alpha, I think especially like, I'll say, for example, like the marketplace, I would say keep an eye on that. I think how we've done it so far doesn't mean that's how it's going to be done 3 months from now, right? I think what we just did was the first iteration of it. And like I said, we're always looking at the bigger picture in terms of how can what we just did, how can we make that 5 times better, and what can we do to improve that and make it positive for our community, right? So I would say, look at that and what, and kind of just think of ways of, how can this marketplace be better for our community. And I think if you're thinking of it simply as like, it's if you do it the right way, it can be such a positive force, because I think it brings a lot of eyes to the community, right? If you got some really spicy things in there that people are looking forward to, and it, in a sense, it kind of ties back and it helps the community out, then it can be really, really big moving forward. So not only the prizes am I talking about, but I'm talking about the use case and how we can amplify it and kind of make it better and bring even more eyes to the equation. So that's something we're definitely looking to doing. I'm not going to give certain development things because they're still in the process, but that's something that we're definitely keeping an eye out, or something that we're kind of working on, is how to constantly improve that and make it better, and kind of expand its use case and bring more people to the table. So that's something pretty big, besides the the mutation event, or the airdrop, which is going to be special, and then later down the line, we're looking at doing some other cool things. I've hinted at a game, and there's early, like I said, I can't even really talk about it too much, but that's something we're definitely interested in doing down the line. Like I said, Hyper is going to be big in the ecosystem, right? Where it's staking, it's, if you can make it on, if you can get Hyper on the Dap, if you can integrate, some type of game later down the line that can involve Hyper, then that's going to be something that we're looking forward to. So it's just, those are kind of things that we're looking later down the line. Obviously, it doesn't happen in a month even, but it's something that we're going to be constantly doing. I think, like I said, I think we launched like a month and a half ago, and we got staking in the marketplace up, and the airdrops are, I'm not going to give a definitive date on it either, right? Because I think I kind of want the the community to be, a little bit more solidified, right? In that case, give a use. Obviously, we're going to give a use case to the mutants. I'm not going to give too details either about like what their utility are going to be, but the plan is, if giving people a reason to hold both, and then giving them a use case each, so where they help each other out. Obviously, like I said, it kind of ties into lore, right? You need both skill sets to kind of diversify and help you take over the system, right? The space. So having both is going to be beneficial, and I think it's going to be exciting moving forward. So that's kind of like the three things I would give out as like some alpha that we're looking on doing. But no, I mean, I'm excited, and I think it's only going to get better after time. And I think, like I said, right now is like maybe the worst we've seen in terms of like numbers and NFTs for like a long time. And despite that, like we're still have like 500,000 Matic traded in like a month and a half, which is like pretty crazy if you think about it. So like I think there's just a lot of upside, and we just kind of keep bringing the heat, and kind of, like I said, keep working daily to achieve it. So that's all we're gonna do, and just kind of keep propping the community up and building together. And just if we can build that base and build it up to what it's supposed to be, then I think we're going to be in a really good spot. So I'm just excited for everything that's to come, and everything that people can experience with it.
No, that's great. And the only thing I want to tell you is that thank you for coming on. And do you have any community members you want to shout out, or anybody you want to shout out before you go?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Manifest for making it happen, and then there's a couple community members in there, like let's see, Micah has been big proponent. He's an owl holder that's been in the Hyperkongz server just kind of daily. There's a guy named Omar in there who just throws gifts all day, but he's in there talking all day, and he's a positive guy, and he helps really a lot of people out. There's Crookshanks, WW Luno's in there. There's just some really, really good guys that you want in your corner that have been, pushing the project forward, and kind of just, even onboarding more people into the process. So I think, like I said, I think we have a good base of people already in there that are kind of just that get it, and then that know kind of like the trajectory and what we're trying to build. So I'm super grateful for it all. The whole team, and the whole community that's in there right now, and just kind of looking forward to what we're gonna keep building. And I'm grateful for the experience, and we're gonna keep getting better. And that's all it is. We just got to keep moving forward, and thank you for this. I think it's been really good, a really good talk for sure.
No, thank you for coming on. And guys, if you like content like this, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I am excited. I have a monotone voice. So you guys, I'm definitely trying to bring the energy in each one of these interviews, but follow me on X. Follow Easy on X2 as well. And I will see you guys around on the blockchain. Take care.